Dude, let's go.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to an episode of Untamed Outdoorsmen. And today we are back on the Titan X. This will probably be the last Titan X build series upload, at least for a little while. We got some bigger stuff probably planned at least a year out. We have some bigger stuff probably in about a year. But for now, I think this is going to be the last small one for this year at least. And today we're going to be doing kind of a small rework to some of our trolling motor wiring. So I have a whole table here of goodies. We'll kind of just go one by one and kind of explain what we're doing here. So a little bit of context as to what exactly happened here and why that we're doing this. So at the time of recording this about 2 weeks ago, you guys will probably be seeing this a few weeks after, but about 2 weeks ago, we fished 2 tournaments back to back. We fished a Thursday night throwdown and we fished a Sunday tournament, our usual 8-hour tournament. After the first tournament, so the Thursday night throwdown, I noticed that this plug looked like that. And I didn't really read much into it. I was tired. It was already like 9:30, 10 o'clock. I was like, whatever, I'll just go home. And I noticed that this plug was hard to remove, and it's never been hard to remove. So again, I just didn't think much of it, went home, called it a night. The next day, I noticed that it started to get pretty warm, and this would be in the 8-hour tournament. So just out of safety, I didn't use the motor that whole day, or at least I tried to avoid using the motor. But at the very end of the day, we had to gun it back to the ramp. A lot of jet skis, a lot of wig boats out. I just wanted to get back to the ramp. And when I went to put my hand on this plug, couldn't even touch it. It was so hot. So I knew something was going on, and I knew it could possibly be a little bit serious. So I stopped using the motor right away, went back to the truck bed. Thankfully, I had cutters there to cut the wire. And I'll leave a picture in the video right now as to what I saw. But the wiring was completely melted and completely demolished. You notice that the wiring kind of worked its way out, which I think is the reason why it got so hot. But as you can see now, I'll show you briefly, that plug is toast. It got melted. I think just the looseness of the wire created a lot of resistance and created heat, which if I didn't see that, I probably could have resulted in a fire if the circuit breaker wasn't there. So I'm definitely glad I noticed this, and I'm glad we're fixing it. But this plug that we did on the install, probably don't recommend long term. So yeah, we're gonna be replacing that today. That's what this video is. So we got a bunch of stuff here. We got, our drill. We got some bolts that we're gonna use to install our new plug. I'll explain in a second. Got a heat gun for some heat shrink. Got a hole saw kit, a Harbor Freight special. Got a bunch of drill bits. Got some screwdrivers. Got a 10mm wrench. We will need that for the plug. Crimper, probably the most important tool here. Wire stripper, cutter, and another screwdriver. Gasket for the plug. We got some upgraded heat shrink tubing with adhesive in it. So I think this is going to be pretty important. This is like really good quality marine grade heat shrink, 65 feet of it for a pretty good price. I'll leave links to all this in the description too. And that's just an example of how it looks on 8-gauge wire. As you can see, it's nice and tight. It's adhesive based, so pretty cool. All right, so this is our upgraded plug. So I'm going to say this is probably going to do quite a bit better than the old one, but this is the battery tender plug. So this is widely regarded, I can't speak for everybody, but this is widely regarded as one of, if not the best trolling motor plugs on the market. It's a little bit more expensive than that plug, but it's a name brand. It's a name brand quality, well-known product. So I think we're gonna have some really good success with this. And then, since we're going through all this trolling motor plug wiring change, I figured it was a good opportunity to kind of do some fine-tuning things that after a couple months of use on our trolling motor setup, I feel like we can simplify it a little bit and make it run a little bit more efficiently. So I got a new roll of duplex 8-gauge wire. Okay guys, so you'll notice in the video we have pure copper ring terminals in the picture here. We actually ended up swapping those out for a tinned copper because the 100% pure copper in the marine environment, we noticed that it quickly started to show signs of corrosion. So we ended up switching to a tinned copper, which is more designed for this scenario. So the tinned copper helps significantly against moisture and corrosion buildup, which is exactly what you see in a marine environment. Just like the picture shows, it's more of a white finish as opposed to the bronze copper. So I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. We ended up switching to tinned copper, and it works 10 times better. But you can still use this. Just keep in mind about corrosion. Got some 8-gauge butt connectors and some 8-gauge heat shrink butt connectors. So yeah, guys. this should be a pretty simple video. We're really gonna simplify this, but yeah, let's get to the install now.
Try not to chop my fingers off. Okay. All right, guys. I'm back on the YouTube channel. Sorry about my little hiatus there, you know, some life stuff happened, but we're back. So as you just saw me do, I marked the little template they give you for this plug onto a new PowerLink plate, so we didn't have to go through the process of trying to modify that one to make this plug work. We just got a new PowerLink plate. That's what's so good about these boats. So now I'm gonna pre-drill the holes for the 2 big ports that it shows you on the template. I'll actually grab it. So with the template they give you, you just cut it out, and they want you to do 2 1.25 inch holes side by side, and then basically take out this middle section, and the plug should slide right in, and then these will be your 2 bolt mounting holes. So I'm going to drill these 2 first, get this all opened up so we can set the plug down, and then I'll drill these 2 final ones to the right size of the bolt we need, and we should be good from there. So nothing to it but to do it now. So I'm just going to start with just a pilot hole, that way we know we're good, and then open this up. And like we said, this is 1.25 inch, just make sure. All right, yeah, so 1.25 inch hole saw is what we got. So you saw I already drilled the pilot holes. I'm just gonna go down. As you can see, we make a nice mess on Connor's boat, which doesn't matter because it's not mine. All right, guys, so now you see we got these 2 holes drilled, and you got this little excess on either side. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little Dremel rotary tool with a cutoff wheel I have on it, and I'm just going to slowly just straighten this out to make this one uniform ovular hole. And after that, we can get the plug installed, and we can drill the spots for the bolts to go through.
Okay, so this is what we got so far. As you can see, we got this is the inside of the plug, so this is the female end. So we have we drilled 2 3/16 inch holes. We just had a drill bit kit, and then we used our own stainless steel hardware. We have a Home Depot kit of just stainless steel screws for this very purpose. Then we just took some washers and some bolts and tightened it down. But as you can see, this is a perfect fit for that PowerLink plate. We can almost go a little bit smaller on the hole saw size, but I'd rather go slightly larger and have it work instead of too small. So this is good. I like this setup quite a bit. And then just so you guys get an idea of how it works, so this is, like I said, this is the female end, this is the male end. It goes right in, screw it right in, and then it'll lock. So as you can see, these are ring terminal based, so there's no way that these wires can work themselves out if we get a good crimp on them. They sell, so I'll show you guys, they have they call it a linear conversion kit. So they would just go together kind of like this. You can take this adapter, this pops right off to access the ring terminals. You would just put this on instead. We're actually not going to use this. We're going to stick with these because the one thing that I am not a huge fan of with this linear kit is the fact that the ring terminal, like the lugs, they won't fit. we would have to get like an angled ring terminal, like a specialty angled ring terminal just solely for this, and I just didn't want to do that. And plus, if we ever get caught in a rainstorm, which we do quite a bit on the channel, the water would get trapped in here. There'd be no way for the water to escape. So I just think it's better off going with something like this. You know, you can still see the ring terminals, but it's harder for the water to really get in there. And then I bought some RTV we can kind of put around the ring if we really want to, but this will work really great. So let's continue the install now.
All right, so as you can see, we got this plug pulled apart here. We got the two sides, and we got the trolling motor on. Like Connor said, when he got off the water last time, he didn't want to chance it, so he cut these right off. So all we're gonna do is basically like last time, we're gonna take our wire strippers, strip off a piece of this, and then we are going to crimp one of these terminals onto the end of it, and they will bolt right onto this nice battery tender plug right here and here. And as Connor said before, or if he mentioned before, the plug is actually labeled positive and negative, so it's pretty hard to screw this up, but just in case, just make sure you have it on the right one. So we'll take this and we'll strip it back roughly. Alright guys, so change of plans. Connor had a little mind boo-boo. So these wires are actually 8 gauge. If you see the difference, this is a 6 gauge ring terminal here. It's very, very sloppy on there. It's going to be hard to crimp and take up the space. These are our 8 gauge ones that we used last time. You probably saw in the last video. It's nice and tight, so once we crimp it, there should be no issues at all. So we're going to get the heat shrink on this first before you crimp it, because a lot of people make that mistake. And then we are going to crimp that on, and we'll put it to our battery tender mount. So let's do that. All right guys, so now all we're going to do is take our nice ratcheting crimpers. Make sure this wire is pushed all the way in. Oh yeah. Nice.
All right, heat gun time, my favorite part. So that's on there good, kind of like that. All right.
No charge for heating my thumb.
Sorry. We went a little bit without talking there because we kind of focused in. So I'll show you what we did. So everything on here is labeled positive and negative like Pete said, so you really can't mess this up or have to guess anything. So what we did is we took that really high quality heat shrink and we just heat shrunk all the ring terminals there and crimped it on. We kind of trimmed down our covering here for the wiring. I messed up. I thought this was 6 gauge. It's apparently fits perfect with 8, unless those lugs are oversized. I don't know, but they fit perfect with 8. So all it really is, we got the plug on here. I just did some RTV. I didn't use that amazing goop stuff. I just used normal RTV from like Harbor Freight, just around there to make sure it's waterproof. And then just put it on there. All you do is you just take this. Again, you can't do any reverse polarity. Screw it on, and it'll lock in like that. So that's pretty much all it is. Like I said, I think this will do pretty good with waterproofing because it's not very common that the water is going to get in here, especially because if I'm using the anchor mode while it's raining, it'll be pointing me with the wind anyway. So it's not like the water can like creep in. I think we'll be all right. Worst case scenario, we'll take some of this RTV just to this, but I don't think we'll have an issue. But yeah, so we got a few more things to do. We're gonna run a fresh roll of wiring just because I noticed, I'll show you guys actually. So I like what we did originally. I'm a big fan of it, and I still recommend doing that if you want to. I know a lot of people have expressed concern about the placement of the circuit breaker. We didn't have a problem with that. We had no issue with that whatsoever. The issue that I started to get a little bit worried about though is the bow hatch, how we had the circuit breaker attached to the bow hatch. I didn't like if we needed to remove it, like the actual hatch itself. I felt like it just put strain on the wire, a lot of unnecessary strain, and stuff like that would happen, which Kind of scares me a little bit, but you can see that that's starting to get exposed there on the old roll of wiring. So yeah, all we're gonna do off of this is just cut this connectees right off as close as we can to the butt connector, and we'll show you quickly what we did over here. So instead of having the circuit breaker on that bow hatch for the reason that I explained, we're gonna run it here. So I just took an 8-gauge battery terminal, like a ring terminal set. It was a foot long. Circuit breaker, connect these, and then connect these will go right to the battery plug up there. So there's no need for extra attachments or anything like that. It's just one clean shot of wiring. A lot less areas to potentially go wrong. Again, if you want to do it that way, if you want to do it the way that Native does it, they wouldn't have uploaded that video if they didn't feel confident in that setup. So if you want to do it that way, by all means, go ahead. We did not have any issues because of that. I just felt like after using it for a couple months, I just feel like this is a way to kind of simplify it and fine tune it. So yeah, let's get to it now.
All right, guys, so same thing as the last time we did this. I'm gonna cut a little bit of this white wrapping around the outside. We're gonna expose these wires. We'll split them apart. Individually, we will strip them, and then we will put the ring terminals on them, and they will go to the bottom side of that battery tender connection that goes through the power link, which will be this side right here, positive and negative. And we'll run that back. We'll get it to our connectees on the battery side, and then it's just simple. Two things we got to crimp, that side and this side, and we're completely good. So we'll start that now. Okay. Now we got it exposed enough, we can put our heat shrink on and we can start stripping. Perfect. Oh yeah, not going anywhere. That one ain't coming out. Yep.
same time. Looks good, guys. All right, so we get the butt connectors on now. I'm just gonna slide the heat shrink on, and we'll do that again. One of you guys recommended in the comments to use a heat gun. Much better. Thank you for that recommendation. Okay guys, so we just finished this install. A lot simpler than we thought it was gonna be. It really wasn't too bad, especially with that heat shrink tubing roll that we bought. That stuff's a game changer. It's so much better than stuff we bought. Adhesive like built into it, like the glue. So that stuff is awesome. We don't even need electrical tape. That stuff was so good. So, got this plug installed here. This is the male end. As you can see, it's an L shape, and you got the ring terminals that we installed here and here. Positive and negative, again, all marked. This is our female receptacle. Pop that right out. Take this screw. So just pop right in. Locks right in. And as you can see, we got power. So this is an extremely secure connection. We ran the wiring just like we did before, but without the circuit breaker that's in the back. We just ran it, did the same thing, had the two, I don't think you guys can see up there, but we did it just like the video, got the two ring terminals crimped on with the heat shrink, and we just ran it. We wanted to run it in a way that didn't put any stress on the wires or the crimps that we did, which we managed to do. So pretty good. Going back here, we got more heat shrink. This is that really nice adhesive heat shrink that we had, but we also put on heat shrink butt connectors. So we heated those up first, and then we put the heat shrink on, so it better seals it all. That was the connectees one. We had to replace the built-in connectees butt connector, and then we went to right to the connectees. The connectees goes to our circuit breaker, and then the circuit breaker is attached to this 9-inch, 1-foot little battery terminal wire going right to the battery. So again, I just think this is going to be a much more simple system. Like I said before, not putting any stress on any wires, no need for unnecessary crimping or attachments or anything like that. It's all just ring terminal, it goes right there. So there's really nowhere for this really to go wrong now. Not that, again, we didn't really have anything inherently go wrong with the wiring job that we did. It was just more so that plug got loose. But with replacing that plug, I thought we'd take the opportunity to fine tune some things that we wanted to do after using it for a few months. So we got this set up now, and I really like this quite a bit. I think I like this a little bit more than the other setup. So yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Really hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Pete and I will answer it. A huge thank you to Pete for helping us out with this install. Welcome back to the channel. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you guys in the next video. See you later.